Good evening and welcome to Kusa Plays Minecraft episode 13. And you may wonder why I am standing here on top of the creeper farm that has been shown to be an abject failure. Well, I welcome you aboard and I have some exciting news. This is actually not a fail build because look! There is gunpowder in here, which means this thing does actually function. It just functions very, very inefficiently, which means it's not a failure. I'm not a failure. I'm so happy. It doesn't take much to make me happy these days. But this thing actually does, in fact, work, which is awesome. And I actually was AFKing down by the iron farm down there and decided, you know what, let's go run one more check just to see if anything's happened up here. And I actually found some gunpowder in here, which means that this thing does work. We just actually have to work on its efficiency a little bit, which is what we're going to do today, as we are actually going to see if we can get the efficiency of this thing to come back up to something resembling normalcy. So, in other words, instead of giving me, like, you know, a quarter of a stack of gunpowder, it actually is going to give me a couple of stacks of gunpowder when I AFK down here. And we worked on this a little bit too, so we actually have a little bit of a building now in front of our iron farm. We're still going to pretty this up a little bit, but we have a little building in here where, as you can see, our AFKing is going spectacularly well. Whoops. And rather than put the poppies in here, I've actually put the bone meal farm in, so we can just basically... Oop, that's firework rockets. I can't compost those. So we can actually make some bone meal over here while we are doing it. So if we have extra poppies, we can put them over here, or I can just bone meal them, or however I feel like. If I really need red dye, we can do that. But I was very happy to see that that thing is actually functional. It does work. The only problem is, the reason that we're not getting that many spawns in it is because look where it's built. It's built over land. So what we're going to do today is two things. First of all, we need to basically spawn-proof the area around this. So basically we're going to go from the edge here, we're going to go 100 blocks in every direction and try and spawn-proof this as much as we can. Now, doing that is going to be a chore, because what we're going to have to do is we're basically, rather than putting down buttons or anything weird like that, I want to do underground lighting. So we're going to do shroom lights with some leaves on top of them to basically light the area up in about 100 blocks in every direction. So it's going to take a little while. And then the other thing we need to do is we need to actually beautify this, because right now it's just the big floating block in the sky with some scaffolding attached to it. But we can fix that. We can actually make this into something amazing. And we are going to make this into something amazing. And it's going to be probably the most ambitious build I've ever attempted. But to show you that, we have to actually go over to my testing world where I've got sort of the superstructure of what I want to build around it. And it's actually going to go out from there and probably come close to this. And we're going to make this into something as well. But this is going to be a chore. So let's go over to my testing world and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So are you all ready for this one? Because I don't know if I am. There it is. That is what we are going to be building around the creeper farm. Now, those of you with an eye for architecture probably kind of recognize what this is going to end up being. Yep, it's the Chrysler building. That is what we're building here in Kusaville for the creeper farm. So basically the top of the creeper farm goes up to right here. This is 168 blocks, which is exactly the top of the creeper farm, and this is exactly the footprint of the creeper farm going down using the same block palette. Now I may actually change up the block palette a little bit as far as different portions of it, but just look how far down everything is. So there's my micro homes. There's some more micro homes over there in the distance, but this is what we are going to be building in the footprint of that thing. Now, I'm still working on the roof portion of it. This probably will change because I was doing this and realized that I was sort of one block off that direction, so I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing there with the top of it. But since I've got all that iron, I might as well use it for something, right? Since I can AFK for a night and come back to enough iron to probably do most of this. But this is gargantuan. So this is, let's see, how far up are we here? I think at the very top of the spire we are at 215. So this is easily the largest structure I have ever built in Minecraft. It is the lighthouse I made in my Minecraft versus Mental Illness world is dwarfed by this thing, because the Minecraft versus Mental Illness world, that goes up to about, I want to say, probably around here. So this is how tall it was there, but this thing is just immense, and we're going to need a lot of materials for this. This is not something we're going to do in one episode. This is going to be an ongoing kind of project to build this thing, because we need, first of all, we need to have our smooth stone in mass quantities. So we're going to have to basically go mining for stone, like a lot of stone. And then we need nether brick for the roof, because if you've seen the pictures of the Chrysler building, and I'll probably have some of them on the screen for you right now, if you look, this isn't just one big tall building. It's actually got different layers to it. So you've got the first layer, which is a little bit wider than the building itself, and the second layer goes up a little bit further, and then the third layer goes up a little bit further, and then you have the main portion of it that goes all the way up until you get to the very top, where you've got the spire itself that is made out of, in the case of the Chrysler building itself, it's made out of aluminum, but we're going to do it out of iron blocks because that seems to make more sense. The sides of the building are going to be interesting because we basically got everything laid out here the way we want it, as far as where we want windows and things. We're using black stained glass. I've got end rods behind it for lighting right now. That may change. It just kind of depends on what I want to do here. And then down at the very bottom here, we've got the larger windows for the first floor. And if you come around the front, you'll see that we changed it up a little bit, because we've got the stone here for the entryways. We've got iron doors that you go through. And then I'm using quartz for the floor, but I don't know if I want to source that much quartz, because in the actual world, imagine this not being here. So this is going to be one enormous foyer. And what we're going to do is, rather than having scaffolding going up to the top, we're basically going to have water elevators. So I'm going to have a water elevator that's going to go up to an AFK platform somewhere in the building. And then it'll be another one that'll be going up to the collection area. I've been thinking of just actually running hoppers down here into a central collection area, or maybe doing maybe a dropper elevator or something, or just literally having a dropper drop everything down a chute and goes into a hopper. We might actually end up doing that. So there's going to be water elevators that are going to be going up to the various different floors. I'm not going to have every single floor in this, by the way. I may be crazy, but I'm not that crazy. So we won't have every single floor in here. We might actually knock out this wall too and just make this one big room up until... Oh, wouldn't that be cool? Actually, yeah, if you had this, so if that's the roof there, but then that's the roof there, and just have this be one giant room... Ooh, that'd be kind of cool. It'd be really hard to light, but it'd be really, really cool. So I'm still kind of mulling over in my head exactly what I'm going to do with the interior, but the exterior is fairly straightforward. I mean, the exterior of this Chrysler building is just basically one big rectangle that then goes up, stops there, goes up, stops there, and then goes up one more. And then this part in the front goes across this way, and then you go up here and over, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to build the superstructure to see how it would look. And I think it's going to look just absolutely gorgeous when we're done with it here. And we've got these laid out so I can actually determine where the different levels are on there. So, which is pretty simple. I mean, you go over 2, there's 1, go over 1, there's 1, and then go over 2, and there's your main building. So it's really not hard to lay out. The hard part is just the building itself, because, I mean, this is a lot of smooth stone. A ton of smooth stone. And I think it's the only block that actually looks good. If you, once again, the pictures of the Chrysler building, this is what the exterior looks like, is using this sort of smooth stone kind of texture. I thought about concrete, but I don't want to go farm that much gravel and sand. I just don't. I mean, we could do light gray concrete, but I think it would just be too uniform. It would look too dull. I mean, we're going to be doing, detailing and things like that. And then the coolest thing, I think this is the vehicle's top speed. This is as fast as we go. And we're at the top, which is really why we need water elevators for this, because this is huge. So on the corners over here, we have kind of a conundrum, because there's like this little archway that goes in between like here and here, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how we would represent that on this, because it sort of goes like that a little bit. I mean, it's really hard to describe, unless you've seen the pictures of it, because there's like this little arch that goes out from here. So it would basically go, why can I not place these correctly? So it basically go up and then back down again. Sort of like that. But it's really hard to try and figure out, because it's sort of a arch that goes that way, and that's really difficult to do in Minecraft. I mean, I don't know exactly how to do that and have it not look kind of wonky. So, I mean, we could do something like that, I suppose, and then do the upside down stair trick under it. But that looks really strange, so I'm not sure exactly how to do that yet. We'll figure it out sooner or later. I might use slabs. Maybe slabs would work. I'm not sure, but it basically goes from the top down to about here. So there's like this little corner archway that I got to figure out how to do. Maybe slabs combined with stairs. That might work, actually. We'll try that. But then at the corners of the building, so corner of here, corner over there, and then the corners up here, there are these really cool, like, eagle heads that jut out this direction. so they go out like over like that way. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that either. I'm thinking dragon heads maybe. So I'm going to need, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 dragon heads. I have 5 to my name right now, so we're going to have to go in-busting for 7 more dragon heads. And then this, I've got to figure out proportions for it. And then I've got to figure out what I'm doing as far as, like, lighting. Now, if you've seen the pictures of the Chrysler building, the lighting's actually kind of recessed. So if we didn't do this, but let's say we did... let's say we just, you know what? Let's say we did shroom lights, since we have access to those here, and then we did white stained glass in front. How would that look? So if we did white stained glass like this, and then the lights behind it, how does that look? A little bit too yellow. We need a darker color of glass. What options do we have here? I mean, we can always use... No, not gray. We could always use black stained glass and see if that gives us a little bit better texture. Ooh, that actually might... That might be an option. But the lights are white. And the only other thing I can think of is, instead of shroom lights, we use end rods. Sort of like that. And then we can use the white stained glass again. Where'd my stained glass go? Stained glass. There we go. So that way we could have white lights. Ooh, yeah. Okay, that actually might look... You know, what's the... Hang on, let's look. Time... night. I mean, that looks really cool. I think, actually, the end rods are the way to go there, rather than the sea lanterns or the shroom lights or anything else. And then if you go down here, we've got some lighting down in the bottom as well. So that's how the sides would look at night. I'm not sure if I'm happy with that. We'll have to play around with it and see what it looks like. Now, obviously, what's with all the bats, dude? There's no bats in the Chrysler building. Oh my goodness. All right, note to self: make sure area is lit up well enough so that there are no bats spawning in my Chrysler building. Right, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'm happy with that. But I like the block palette itself. How would basalt look, actually? Now I'm curious. How would basalt look? So if we put in basalt for some of these pillars, because if you've noticed, there's the color in the bottom part of the Chrysler building is kind of yellowed and looks kind of aged. So how would putting this in look? I don't think... No, that just isn't quite what we're going for, honestly. I mean, I think that's the best the closest kind of color match we're going to get to what... Because the Chrysler building is very white and light grays. Maybe concrete for this bottom level? Yeah, I still don't know if I'm sold. It just seems too flat. I mean, and I know concrete's supposed to be flat. That's the whole gig, is it's supposed to look flat. It's the dark gray. Oh, that's just too dark. So yeah, the light gray I think is the best way to. So I think it's just too flat. I think the stone brick probably looks better. The smooth stone. I really do. I think it actually looks better than the concrete does for this particular build because the concrete is just too uniform. Whereas this actually has some texture and depth to it. This doesn't. So I mean, building in concrete's weird because if you build something that doesn't have like levels to it or any kind of, if something don't jut out like this, it just looks very dull. And in this particular case, this looks very dull. Like if this were like a good example would be like one of the old Eastern Bloc countries apartment buildings. I would go with this because a lot of those were just sort of the uniform Soviet gray, which is what they had in the Eastern Bloc at that time. But considering what this is an iconic landmark, and it's meant to be bright and vibrant and pop and sort of be a show of. I mean, it's 20s. It was built in the 20s, so it's like early 20th century. Roaring 20s Art Deco kind of style of building. It's like Art Deco in a building. If someone would ask me what would be the perfect example of Art Deco in your mind, I would point at the Chrysler Building and say that's it, because the Chrysler Building is Art Deco personified, just the way it's built and the huge spire at the top and everything. And the only thing I'm afraid of is I'm going to get this built and the spire's not going to be very grand, because if you look at it from down here at ground level, it just kind of gets lost up there. So we might have to actually build the top of that exaggerated so that it actually has a much more exaggerated look to it and more grandiose, which is fine because we still have about 50 blocks to play with before we get to build height, so that's fine. But this thing okay, hang on. Let's go back over here for just 1 second. I want to show you something about this. So this is from about 80 blocks away, and it fills the screen. I mean, the thing is just huge. Why am I doing this to myself? Why do I do these things to myself? But it's an immense construction, and it's one of those things. Like I said, this is not going to be one build session or 2 or 5. It's probably going to be like 10 different episodes before I'm done with this thing, because it is the single largest thing I have ever built in Minecraft, bar none. Like, I thought some of the stuff that I did was big. I thought my lighthouse was big. The Temple to Hercules was big. My amphitheater that I built on Ichi's server, I thought that was big at the time. It really wasn't, but it was a big project for me because it was one of the first big projects I worked on. This is beyond large. This is a mega build. I've never actually done a mega build before. This is going to be a mega build. And see, you can tell it's just off by like 1 block, but that's okay. We can fix that. But it's just, look how far down that goes. Look how gigantic this thing is. It's just, it blows. I was building it in creative just to get an idea of what I was doing. And the more I built on it, and the further I went and the higher I got, I'm just like, this, I can only imagine how the people who designed these types of things, these skyscrapers that you see in New York and Taiwan and Hong Kong, Japan, Germany, the Oman, the United Arab Emirates, I can only imagine the designers of these buildings, once they saw the completed version of them, what they must have thought. I kind of have an idea about that now. There's the sheer scale of something like this is just unbelievable. It's hard to imagine something this big. I mean, it just goes forever. But yep, this is what we're gonna build, because I apparently am a masochist. Yay me. But before we get to that point, we have a lot of work to do. So for starters, what we need to do, first of all, we need to let that bang away on iron, because we're going to need a ton of iron for the top of that. But the first thing we need to do is we need to actually start lighting up everything around here, and then we need to start sort of terraforming this a little bit to get ready for this particular build. So it's going to come out to about here, give or take. So this is all going to have to be leveled off for the monstrosity that is the Chrysler Building. I still can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm even contemplating this. So we need to level all that out. We need to level it out in that direction too. Probably knock down most of this mountain, and then we need to light everything up. So we're going to start by leveling out the area around this, and then we're going to start lighting everything up. So let's go. It's a good thing I actually have a mending shovel, let me tell you. So we're going to start leveling all this out, and then we're going to go get some lights, and we're going to start lighting everything up in about 100 block radius around this thing, so that the spawns are much more efficient, and we're able to actually get more gunpowder than 16 at a time, because 16 at a time, that's rookie crap. Those are rookie numbers. We got to up those numbers. Why is it raining? Oh, my goodness. It's not one thing, it's another. I mentioned recently I hate landscaping. I hate landscaping. But the only thing that makes this bearable is my good old Efficiency 5 shovel, and knowing the fact how cool this thing is going to look when we are done, because it's going to look amazing. So that'll get me through. I don't know how much longer my shovel's going to last. Gotta go get some XP and heal it up in just a minute here. You know what I'm truly thankful for, though, while I'm doing this portion of this? Look at the durability on my pick here, on this netherite pick. It's barely even been touched, and I have gotten rid of all of that. So, you know, netherite tools, pretty baller. I'm going to have to get more of them. Like a netherite shovel would be nice right about now. Well, there's an hour of my life I can never have back. Well, we got it. We got everything cleared out here. Although we're probably going to have to dam up the Hudson a little bit more over there. So that's going to probably have to go to about there. But that's okay. We can deal with that at a later time. But we got most of this area cleared out. So that's going to be kind of the footprint of the Chrysler building. They're very loud. Once we've got it all taken care of over there. So it's not going to be the whole thing, but I'm going to use this area as a little bit more like decoration and things like that. So yeah, so that's going to be the bottom of it, and then it's going to come out to about there, and then over here, and then about over there to over here. It's going to be huge. There's no two ways about it. This thing is going to be just absolutely gargantuan. And what have I done? Why do I do this to myself is the question. Because I can. So yeah, so that's the footprint of our building. We're going to be lighting everything up, and that actually is the next step, is going out about 100 blocks in every direction, lighting everything up, and making this at least much more efficient and profitable than it was. So let's go get some lights, and we're going to take all these shulker boxes full of stone back to the main base and start getting it smelted up in our super smelter. So let's go do that, and I'll see you guys in just a few minutes. So as the sun goes down, I wanted to show you guys my progress here. So as you may notice, we've got this area over there kind of worked out a little bit as far as a little bit more landscaping, so that should be enough of a footprint for the building. And if you ever wanted to know how far 100 blocks really is, so check this out. So we've got our lights going in. We've got 3 rows of it in going all the way out there. So that is 100 blocks away from the edge of this area here. So that's going to be basically 100 blocks in that direction. And then so notice we've got rows. Every 5 blocks we're putting in a light with some leaves above it. And then we're going to do that all through this area. So basically it's going to be lit up in 100 blocks around the area completely. So the only place for things to spawn is going to be up there. And the only thing that can spawn up there are creepers. So in theory, that should work. Plus it's going to look really cool once we get everything put in, all the lights put in. Because we're doing rows every 5 blocks, both vertically and horizontally, of either shroom lights or glowstone under the ground with leaves on top of it. So yeah, once it's put in, it's going to be amazing. And it's going to be a very, very safe area, which is nice because we've got a whole bunch of stuff over here. I already had like 4 creeper explosions. The biggest issue is going to be that over there. See that thing right there? That's a ravine. And I'm thinking what I might actually end up doing is just take a whole bunch of sand and fill it in. I'm really considering it because I don't. It's kind of ugly looking. First of all, because you got this, it's a beautiful area. I mean, we've got the spruce biome that comes over here to a little river. This is the Hudson, of course, Hudson River, and well, it was the Hudson River until I blocked it off right there. So this is sort of, I guess, like Battery Park City down there now. But yeah, we got the Hudson River coming in. We've got the spruce biome over there. So there's like, you know, Connecticut, and then over here we've got, you know, New York proper, which is, you know, it's not part swamp, but it should be. The swamp's actually over that direction. But yeah, once we get all those lights in, it's going to look really good. So, but I really think I might just end up just filling that in with, just grab a whole bunch of sand, just fill it in with sand, and then cover it up with dirt. So we've got that completely filled. I need to go down there and make sure there's no little branching caves to screw up our spawning rates from this. And then light those up. But other than that, and there's no other cave. The fun thing is, there's no other real caves around here. There's a couple of like little itty bitty ones over there that I've already lit up. And there's a couple under here where my mine was, where my emergency mine was, that I've also filled in. So those are already lit up. I don't have to worry about that. That's going to be the big problem right there. So if we just fill that up with sand, we should be pretty much fine. So fill it up with sand, check the edges to make sure there's no little branching caves going off of it. And then just go ahead and continue our lights there. This part will be a lot simpler over here. I'm thinking that rather than, like, if I run into a place where I need to have a light where there's a tree, I'm just going to actually light up the tree by putting a light up in the leaves. And that way it'll solve that kind of problem. Ooh, there's a creeper over there. Ooh. So we'll have lights in the trees as well as on the ground level. So I'm thinking that we'll end up doing that. But yeah, that's stupid cloud. But that's what 100 blocks looks like when you're trying to light things up every 6 blocks. Basically, it's a little bit further than you'd think. So yeah, this is going to be a very large project. Just getting this lit up is going to be a large project. Not to mention the whole building aspect for this up here. But yeah, just getting this lit up is going to take a while. So we're going to get back to it, and hopefully we'll have most of this taken care of directly. Alright guys, I am so confused. I had to run to the nether to get myself some more shroom lights and some more glowstone because of course I ran out doing the Project of Doom over here. But I have set one of my shulker boxes down somewhere, and I have no idea where I put it. I looked in the nether, I looked in my base, I looked in my ender chest, I've looked out here, and I cannot find it anywhere. And it had all my leaves in it, which is kind of irritating. Yeah, I have no idea where it went. That's a beehive. That is not my shulker, because it's a yellow shulker box, so it stands out. It's not like you can miss it. Well, apparently you can miss it because I've set it down somewhere, but I don't know where in the world I put it. In other news, though, we are making fairly good progress with our lighting. So as you can see, we've got lights going all the way out there, and we basically need to start another row over here. So we've got that going all the way out, that going all the way out. The only thing that still bugs me is this ravine here, because there is one connected cave. I actually already went in and lit that up. It doesn't look like there's any down that way. So I'm still debating on how I want to handle this. Do we just want to light it up and cover it over with dirt? Or do we want to actually just grab a whole bunch of sand and just basically fill it up from bottom to top with sand? But that's a lot of sand. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly how I want to do it. Lighting it up probably would be cheaper and then just cover it over with a layer of dirt. But I'm just not entirely certain how we want to do it. Still trying to figure that one out. But we do at least have a good start here on this. So because we've got everything over in that direction to right about, is it here or is it over? Ah, here we go. So everything from about the middle to here are lit up now. And then we've got to figure out the block count this direction. I think actually about right at the edge of that sand is where the 100 blocks is going to end for going this direction. So if we just go out that way and then end out that way and then we go out the other direction, which that's going to be fun because there's a lot of trees and hills and weird stuff over there. But we've got 1/4 of it nearly done. And off camera, I'll probably do quite a bit more just to get it taken care of. I think with what I've got here, I can definitely finish off this quarter, and then probably I'll go this direction and finish off that quarter next. And then we'll figure out exactly what we're doing from there. So, but this is a big project. This is a huge project, a very tall project too. So it's a huge project. It is the biggest project that I have ever done in Minecraft, period, end of story. And it's going to take a number of episodes to get done. It's not going to be something that we can do just right now. It's going to have to be something that we do over the course of probably weeks, I'm guessing, because if nothing else, the amount of materials it's going to take to do this is just going to be asinine. But I do appreciate everyone coming along. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like on your way out the door. Just calmly press the like button. It doesn't have to be smashed or anything. Don't lick it. You don't know where it's been. And consider subscribing if you actually have enjoyed the video and enjoy the content on this channel and listen to the sultry sounds of my voice. Always fun to have more people here, so the more people we have, the more fun we have, the better off everything is, and the more I get to stroke my own ego. But no, seriously, join. We have a lot of fun here. So hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed the content. Click the bell notification if you want to be notified when new videos come up. But whatever you do tonight, make sure you go out, play some games, have some fun, and I'll see you again real soon. Have a good night, everybody.